of a homecoming, right? I mean, Amherst is a bit of a drive on the pike.
It's a bit.
You're back home.
Boston's one of my favorite cities in the world. Playing all over the world, coming back here, playing out at the big stadium at Foxborough, winning almost every time we ever played there. So it's one of my favorite places in the world, and I'm always happy to come back here. So it's great to see everyone.
We're thrilled to have you back here, no doubt about that. Is it true, I read somewhere, Jim Craig, when you were young, he was one of your heroes growing up in Minnesota?
Absolutely. When I was 8 years old, I remember watching the Lake Placid ice hockey team with my mom on one side and my dad on the other. And after the Miracle on Ice and Al Michaels saying, "Do you believe in miracles?" And I jumped up and I'm like, "Yes, I do. I want to be an Olympian." And my mom and dad were there, and
but you can't skate a lick.
I can't skate a lick, but it was the feeling, the greatness, the amazing feat that those players overcame. And for some reason, at 8 years old, I knew greatness when I saw it, and I wanted to be just like them.
Wayne, goaltenders, goalkeepers, they're a different breed.
They are a different breed.
It's them against the world, and obviously she handled that role pretty well.
Yeah. No, they're one of the things that Bri talked about a lot when we were doing the book was how you have to embrace, I mean, it's the loneliest position in the world. I mean, you are at the last line of defense, and you have to totally embrace that. And you have to love that it's all on you, and everyone can do their job, and if you screw up and the ball's in the back of the net and you lose the game, it's on you. And she loved that. She loved that responsibility. I want it all on me. She said, I love the idea that if I don't, that I can't guarantee that we'll win, but I can guarantee that we won't lose. So you're not getting that ball by me.
Right, you sort of grew into the position. You know, even arriving at UMass, nothing was given to you.
Right.
You had to battle for it.
Absolutely. I came into UMass as a freshman, and the other goalkeeper that was there was the best goalkeeper in the country as a sophomore. And Jim said, come in here and battle for it. And I was willing to do that. I know a lot of people talk about things being a little bit easier and not so difficult, but for me, I think the best decision I made was going to UMass and being in the most competitive waters you could possibly be in. And I was really able to hone my skills and to really compete at the highest level. And if I could beat the other goalkeeper at my own school, I could do just about anything with any other team.
You start to move on to the national stage. If I Chiquita Cup, that was like in Worcester, wasn't it? That was one of your first big national opportunities.
It was. It was in the Massachusetts area as well.
What were those early opportunities like? Like, do you pinch yourself? You know, you're out here competing and ultimately playing for the national team.
I mean, I wanted to be an Olympian when I was 8. I made a sign that said 1996 Olympics, I have a dream, when I was 14, and put it on my wall. And now I found myself playing on a team in 1994 that had won the World Cup 3 years before and had a really good chance of winning an Olympic gold medal in the next 2 years. I couldn't believe my luck. And it is a little bit of luck. It wasn't just all skill. I had a lot of great people in my corner fighting for me, and I did my part as well.
Wayne, you've written books, as I listed, on many, many athletes. Not many say, 96, I'm going to be an Olympian, and then in 96, play for the national team. What made Bri different?
I think she's, you have to be really brave to be a goalkeeper. And she's brave, and she's lived her life in a brave way. She's shown it after her traumatic brain injury. She's shown it, in her Hall of Fame career. And she showed it as an author, too, because she could have sugarcoated a lot of the depths of the things that she went through, and she never did. And, one of the first things as a co-author, when I sit down with someone, I basically say, look, you're in control here. Whatever you want to have in the book will be in the book, but we're not going to have anything good if we are not really candid, if we don't tell the whole truth. And we needed to lay it all out there. And it's amazing how many people will sort of, they'll say, yeah, I get it. And then when it comes time to follow through, and Bri never wavered. I mean, she was incredibly brave and incredibly patient. I was telling someone earlier tonight, when we first started, she said, how much time do you think you're going to need with me? And I just threw out, it was really, I didn't tell her it was total BS, but it sort of was, like, 20 or 25 hours total of real dedicated interviewing time. And, fortunately, she didn't keep the meter running, but we probably went over that by about 25 times. And she never once said, like, with a text or a call or, "Oh, God, it's you again?" I mean, she was incredibly patient and was a joy to work with. And, the one thing I'll say, too, a lot of times writing a book is a pretty intense process. And when you're done, a lot of times, okay, we're done. And, I'd be fine, like, not to see this person for a little bit. And that never happened with Briana. It was an absolute, it was a treasure and an honor to work with her.
Oh, Wayne, that's sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Wayne.
All right, Brian, let's go to 99.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. That team, in so many ways, created a generation of women's soccer fans in the United States.
Yes.
When did you realize, we talk about the Olympic team in 1980, Jim Craig, right? When you talk to those guys, there's a point at Lake Placid where they start to realize something special's going on.
Yep.
When did you guys start to realize that not just that you were playing great and could win a gold medal, but that the country was sort of jumping on the bandwagon?
The first game playing at Giant Stadium, we were driving to the stadium and we have to get there between 90 minutes to 2 hours in advance of the game. And we are in the bus being escorted by police cars and motorcycles, and we come up onto the highway and we are in huge traffic. And we had to go on the shoulder and get by, and we were worried that we were gonna be late, and we were like, who in the world scheduled another game out here during our game? We had no idea that traffic was for us. No idea. We were in the bus waving at the little girls with their faces painted, waving at us. Hi, we're taking their picture, they're taking our picture. We had no idea. And that's when we really knew we had something special. For years and years, we went all over the country, barnstorming and telling our story about, please come see us play. We have something special here. We think you're gonna like it. We think your daughters need to see it in person. 78,000 people at that first game at Giant Stadium, and only one other event had more, and that was the Pope when he came. And that was only because he could have people on the infield.
You had a game.
That's why we had a game. So yeah, I mean, that's when we knew we were onto something special. And telling you what, coming out of that tunnel, listening to 78,000 people talk amongst themselves, and when they saw us, you can just feel this incredible crescendo of noise that's all over the place become unified. And they started clapping, and all these cameras are snapping, and these flashing lights, and it was so emotional. We all started crying as we're walking out for the anthems, and we had to pull it together. We're like, guys, we're all like crying. We got to play a game out here, and it was fantastic. That's when we knew we had something special. But when I knew for sure that we were really gonna do this, and this was catching on all over the country, is when Robin Roberts, back then when she was a reporter, she came to the stadium at the Rose Bowl 5 days before the game to interview me. And she and I sat on the pitch side, and I was like, oh my gosh, Robin Roberts is here. And that's when I knew we had something special, when Robin Roberts showed up.
All right, but the gold medal's on the line.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and you're in net.
Yes.
And the other 10 are out there having a good old time. Everyone, they're in midfield, just chatting, watching.
I have no idea what they were doing.
You're all alone. What do you remember that save? Do you remember the moment? Do you remember the kick? Like, take us through that.
So, as a goalkeeper, I had a very specific way and method that I was taught by Jim Rudy, my college coach at UMass, on how to prepare for penalty kicks. So we had trained these penalty kicks, and I knew all I had to do was save one, and all my teammates had to make one. And as simple as that sounds, it's not so easy to do if you've seen penalty kicks as of late. So I was focusing only on my task. So when my teammates would kick, I would have my back to them, just kneeling down on the side, waiting for the crowd noise to tell me whether we made it or not. But it wasn't relevant to me. I had to focus on me. So each time I'd go into the goal, I would just have complete focus. On that third kicker, I swear to God, I kid you not, as I'm walking into the goal, something in my mind said, this is the one. And I looked at her, number 13, and I saw her jogging up to the penalty spot, and I said, this is the one. And I walked into that goal, and I did my thing, and I paced back and forth, and I was ready, and it didn't matter where she shot that ball. I was gonna save it. And sure enough, that was the one I saved. That was the one.
You went through a lot after that.
Yes,
You've come back from it.
Yes.
You speak about it now.
yes.
What does it mean to know that your story on the field, off the field afterwards, might affect someone, might help someone through what they're going through?
Well, as Wayne said, it's hard to be completely authentic and honest when you write a book about your life, especially when you have the kind of life that I've had, where I've had spectacular, amazing feats of success, but I've also had incredibly low, difficult, demanding, soul-crushing events in my life as well. And I knew that when we sat down to write this book that I wanted to tell both sides of that story as authentically and descriptively as I talk about the penalty kick save. I want to talk about the 3 years of absolute hell I went through after my concussion, how I pawned my gold medals because I was running out of money, how I battled the insurance company for 2 years, how I was eventually suicidal for much of 2013, and how the only thing that stopped me from doing it was knowing that someone would have to tell my mom that her baby was gone. And when that thought came to my mind, I said, you know what, I can't do this. And so I stepped off the ledge that I was gonna jump over into the waterfall, and I decided right then I wasn't gonna do this. And then shortly after, I got a gift. The love of my life came into my life. And she's right there. Baby, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. And God had pity on me and decided that I had been through enough hell and brought Krissa Zizos into my life. And through her, she helped me get my life back on track. She helped me battle the insurance company. She helped me put my life back together again. And once I got the right doctor and the right medical care, she helped me construct my career again. And I became an advocate for TBI, traumatic brain injury. I became an advocate for concussions. And I know a lot of you know about all the troubles that the NFL has had with TBI, and a lot of those guys struggle, and I know a lot of them struggle today, but a lot of them are also somewhat shy and afraid about talking about the emotional piece, the side that is darkest, not just the physical symptoms, but the emotional piece. And I made it my mission to be honest and talk about the stuff that people don't talk about, and to be honest and open about that and try to change the way concussions are seen in society and try to change the way sports are seen. It's not a shame to admit that you're hurt. It is not unmanly to say, you know what, I'm struggling, or I've been having difficulty, or I feel like I'm not myself. I'm trying to make people understand that that is the right thing to do. When you have a head injury, do not fight through it. And so I became one of the first people to talk about that emotional piece. And now today I speak candidly and openly to corporations, to organizations all over the world, especially in the United States, about mental health, especially after this pandemic. It's very vital, about overcoming obstacles, about resilience. And I tell my life story candidly and openly, because I want people to be able to see a little bit of themselves in me. And if I can reach someone where they are and they're struggling and they don't think anybody understands them, by telling my story, they realize that, you know what, maybe she does understand me. And if she could overcome, then maybe I can too.
It's an important message. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration to all of us. And tonight we honor you.
Thank you so much.
Briana Scurry, Soccer Legacy Award.